FM.
The Radio Wammo FM.
Kiwi.
102.2 Auckland. The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Talking politics with Phil Goff.
Leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Phil.
Yeah, good morning, Wammo.
Now, all the newspapers over the weekend and this morning are tipping that you are going to make a few announcements regarding the Labour policy on GST, in particular removing GST on fresh fruit and vegetables. Can you confirm that?
Well, I can't confirm it until I make the announcement, Wammo, as you might expect. But, hey, it's no secret that Labour has been looking at taking a little bit of pressure off family budgets. From the, which are going to come under a lot of stress from the 1st of October, 2.5% extra on everything that people buy on top of all the normal costs that have been going up. And we've said, look, there's an argument for taking GST off fresh fruit and vegetables. Well, in fact, there's two. One is it reduces the price, and that's a significant component of people's food buy each week.
Yeah.
And secondly, if you looked at, you might or might not have looked at the front page of The Economist late last week, but it had a list of the fattest countries in the world, the most obese, and there is New Zealand, third from the top after the United States and Mexico.
Crikey.
And that's a worry. 1 in 4 of our kids going into school are overweight, and a study done by the School of Medicine at Auckland University just in the earlier part of this year found that when you took the price down for things like fresh fruit and vegetables, people consumed about the same percentage more of them as the cost came down. So they took 12.5% off, which was the then GST rate, and people consumed 11% more fresh fruit and vegetables. Now, if it's good enough for the government to put taxes on things they don't want you to consume more of, why don't they take taxes off things that they do want you to consume more of because they're nutritious? So I think those are the two arguments.
So are you saying that Australia is not as fat as New Zealand, and Australia also don't charge a tax on fresh fruit and veggies?
Yeah, Australia exempts a lot of food items from GST, and remember their GST is 10%. That's 50% lower than New Zealand's rate of GST. But no, it's kind of our image as Kiwis is that we think that we're reasonably healthy, we play sport, we eat well, but the truth is that's not borne out by the facts, and the facts are. And there were two items in the media. One was this table on obesity, and Australia is after New Zealand, but it's not as bad. But the finding that nearly a quarter of Kiwi children are overweight or obese even before they start school.
Yeah.
I mean, health experts said that that's a scary statistic, and quote unquote the government's doing nothing to help. Well, if the best way of getting people to eat better food rather than fatter foods is bring the price of healthy food down, why don't we do it?
Now, the opponents to this say that it complicates the tax system and that it increases compliance costs as well. Now, can that be offset by the benefits?
Oh, the compliance costs are tiny and complex. No, everybody knows what a fresh fruit or vegetable is. Out of 30 OECD countries, there's only 3 that don't either exempt food or different types of food or charge a lower rate of GST on it.
What about a bag of frozen peas?
Well, no, that's processed food.
They're good for you, though.
By definition.
They're good for you.
It is, and the input cost to the company freezing the peas would be less, so they'd probably drop their prices anyway.
And of course, the GST is being increased anyway at the end of this week. Any concerns about the process and how it's all going?
Yeah, well, huge concerns because, for retailers, it couldn't come at a worse time. The economy is still pretty depressed in terms of retail sales, and retailers all around the country have told me that this will make life more difficult for them. But for consumers, look, if you're a top income earner, you'll laugh all the way to the bank. If you're earning more than $70,000, $80,000 a year, your tax cuts will well exceed the increased cost of your goods. But if you're under that level, by the time you take into account the GST plus the increases in accident compensation, plus the emissions trading scheme increases, plus the fact that rents have gone up in Auckland by $20 a week over the last year, rates have gone up by 6 or 7%, doctors' fees have gone up. If you've got kids at early childhood education, they're up by $25 a week extra, or will be when the government changes come in. A whole lot of those people are going to be worse off. In fact, the New Zealand Institute of Economic Research calculates that more than half of the New Zealand population will be worse off by the end of this year than they were at the end of last year.
And Phil, just before you go, and quickly just getting back to the fresh fruit and veggies, let's just say Labor announces this policy later on today. Would you have a fairly stringent set of rules around exactly what is fresh fruit and veggies? I mean, would a salad bowl that is pre-prepared and mixed with tomatoes and lettuce and whatnot, would that be included? What's the...
No, that's prepared food at a restaurant. It's very straightforward. It's anything that's a fresh vegetable or a fresh fruit that you buy in the shop. While the salad bowl's served in a restaurant, they won't have the input costs on the products.
What about at the supermarket? What about the supermarket?
Yeah, if it's fresh fruit or vegetables, then if you were going to exempt those things, it's a pretty clear line. Everybody in every country in the world knows how to distinguish between it. For John Key to say it's too difficult to understand is just a nonsense.
Okay, what about my basil? Buy a bunch of basil at the supermarket.
Yeah. Well, that's fresh vegetable, isn't it?
It's a herb.
Yeah, what is it about that nobody wouldn't understand?
Well, I know, it is common sense, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, the tax system comes down to very, very strict, stringent rules, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, look, why would you look at exempting fresh fruit and vegetables? Because the definitional lines are pretty clear on that across the board. There's no difficulty with it. It's affordable. It'd cost about $250 million a year, but then the government's picked up most of that and the extra excise on tobacco. So they can't say, they had a windfall from the tobacco tax. Why not turn that windfall into something that'll help people eat nutritious foods? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Cool. I look forward to the announcement. Thanks very much, Phil.
Okay, thanks very much.
Cheers.
See you later, mate.
See ya.
Cheers.
Leader of the Labor Party, Phil Goff.